music therapy can be used for physical problems as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's this whole thing called neurologic music therapy, and it's really based in working with physical disabilities, rehabilitation of physical things through music. There's also, I've worked with people with strokes who've lost their speech, but they can sing.
Okay.
I worked with this one gentleman. He's early 80s. He couldn't, just jumbled speech. Played harmonica beautifully, and then we would play Christmas songs, and I'd play them on the guitar very slowly, and he would sing them almost perfectly. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he was done, but just would garble,
right?
Not understanding him at all. And it's because music is processed and developed from a different part of the brain that's not damaged like the verbal part is.
Mm-hmm. As time goes on, are you seeing more studies about music therapy? Is the field evolving?
Yeah, what's involving about music therapy is neurologists really getting involved about how music is being processed in the brain. It's really moving that way, and also how to use music for health instead of just working on ailments. How can you use it as preventative health? So it's really growing. The medical profession is starting to recognize the power of what we've known we had for so long. It's just that we don't have the large studies like a pharma company might have, right? Our studies might be of 30 people as opposed to 30,000. And so it's hard to sit in front of a medical board and say, look, here's the study. And they say, well, how many people were in it? It was 30. It's like,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
we're trying to pass over here, So,
yeah, exactly. They're like, we got to, pass this drug.
Yeah, right. So, but when you start getting the neurologists on board and certain, people in the acting and music business supporting it also.
The acting business?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are certain actors that have children with disabilities.
Oh, I see.
And there was an actress that had her son in our program for 10 or 15 years. And now that her child is now working with a woman in Thousand Oaks. So I was telling you about, And she's been a spokesperson for us when her child was in our clinic and helping to raise money.
That's amazing. And we have a clinic.
Yes,
here.
We have a music therapy wellness clinic, and it's in the music department. And we have therapists that work there as well as students. And it's 2 rooms, fairly soundproof with observation areas. So if it's a child, the parents can watch the session. There's recording devices in the room. So if it's a student working in there, they can record themselves working. Started the clinic in 1996, and it was in a classroom. And then these suite of rooms came available in the music department. And my chair, his name was Jerry Leaders, he said, hey, look, I think we can move the clinic into this area. And we did, and we've been there ever since. And it's just a great location. It's like a hidden gem in the music department. You walk by this room, 150, and it says Music Therapy Wellness Clinic, and you think, what goes on in there, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right, yeah. What was the process of like, okay, yeah, maybe we should start this? How did you present that to...
Okay, yeah. That's a good story.
Yeah.
So after the 1994 earthquake, my wife at the time, she said, we have to move. We got to get out of here. Okay?
Yeah.
So I was offered a job at Utah State in Logan, Utah. And then I was in the final 3 candidates for Berkeley in Boston, that Berkeley School of Music. And they were starting a music therapy program. I had started one, and they were very interested in me. And so my chair, who knew I had applied for these jobs, he said to me, I don't want you to even consider leaving. What do you want? And I said, a clinic.
Wow.
And so that's how the clinic began.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And do students students that are going through the program, is that an opportunity for them? One of like the internship, is that a way you can internship there?
Well, there's two things. Internship is the 6-month process.
Oh, right.
And there's practicum or field work. That's the 20 hours of contact hours during the semester. And a lot of them do one of their semesters there. We also have 3 choirs. We have the Sunshine Singers, which is older adults with disabilities. And we've had that probably for a good 15 years. We have the Asteroids, which are like teens with disabilities. And then we have, oh my gosh, the little ones, Rising Star. We have the Rising Star Choir, and that's for younger children. And in fact, and they all give a concert every semester. And so I'll be going to their concert this Thursday, in fact.
Oh, wow.
They have one a semester, and I'll be going to that on Thursday.
I wanted to ask, with the 1994 earthquake, I want to say we had an earlier conversation that you helped provide, I guess, music therapy to those affected by the earthquake.
Yeah, I developed a protocol working with children in the schools of how to deal with their emotions and getting them out. And is that we were actually awarded a national recognition from the National Association for Music Therapy for the work that I started there. And part of it was going into a relaxed state, and they had like this little bell, and then they had a little tag on the bell with fluorescent words and a turtle, and it said, "This is my turtle, I'm a turtle, and this is my shell, and everything's all is well," something like that. And we tried to get and train them into being relaxed when they had that, because the earthquake happened, in the dark. It was funny because like 20 years later, a psychologist, I think from Pepperdine, called me and said, I had a student in my psychology class that talked about a program they were in when they were a kid in Northridge, and they showed me this little bell with this little turtle on it. And it was like, yeah, that was us.
Wow.
And, I mean, just to have that lasting impact on a child. But yeah, that's, and then after that, I developed this whole protocol for trauma. Then I went to Oklahoma City and worked with therapists there that I was really into helping helpers because they had nowhere to really go.
You're talking about the Oklahoma
City bombing,
right?
And in Columbine.
Oh, okay.
Went there also. I did some work. We had a drumming memorial service after 9/11 out on the front lawn in front of the music department, where everyone got a name of someone from California that had perished in those attacks, and it taught them all the rhythm of the name, and so that they played the rhythm of the name, so the name had life, and told them to find out more about that person. And I actually have my paper still framed of the person that I was given, and then helped a little bit after 9/11 with some New York therapists that I worked with. So I've done a lot of work, and I've written chapters in books about mass trauma and how to do music therapy in mass trauma.
I imagine it's like a whole different approach, or is it that different of an approach to kind of address, like, let's say, like a mass, loss of life?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's overwhelming.
Sure.
First of all.
Of course.
Because you're going into a space of people who are grieving and who have undergone extreme trauma. And just how to honor that and have, through the music that happens with you and them is the bridge that brings you together and allows them to now be open to more music experiences that you provide for them to be able to express, talk. So many things with trauma you can't talk about. And what we do with the instruments is that they're able to play through their trauma and give it a musical voice. And at times, I've written songs with trauma survivors, and we recorded them. Yeah, so it's a when you're dealing with a big community, though, I usually would go in like 3 weeks afterwards, after the TVs have all gone and all that, and the people are left there with, damaged homes, loss of life, and it's kind of like they were forgotten now,
Right.
right?
On to the next.
Yeah, and like I said, I like to work with therapists because the therapists are listening to all the people,
Right.
and the therapists can't really work with each other because they're all traumatized.
Right.
And so I come in and try to give them that container to deal with the trauma that they're dealing with, as well as the trauma of hearing trauma.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned like the kid who had the the turtle experience and how it had stuck with him that many years later. These people and these disasters, is that a common thing you hear? There's stories about how it helped them through.
Yeah. I'll tell you something interesting is that after Katrina, I did a workshop in Baton Rouge for therapists. And there were some music therapists there. There were social workers, nurses, and things like that. And it was, I think it was a 2-day workshop on processing their trauma. A year later, I went back and it was publicized that I was coming to do some more work on trauma. And everyone except one person from that original group came back.
Wow.
For the workshop again. And there were some new people, but everyone from the first workshop came back and talked about, how they started employing the music in ways that helped them through things. So, yeah.
It's amazing. I wanted to go back to something that you had mentioned where neuroscientists, they're looking more into this field and realizing that it can help with, you had mentioned health. Like, what kind of health are we talking about? Like blood pressure health or just like day-to-day health?
Yeah. Drumming is really, they've done now research on drumming. And there's on the Remo drum site, they have a whole section about health rhythms and things like that. And there was a nice piece of research that came out of it that drumming with people, for 30, 40, 50 minutes in a community, their natural killer cells went up. So their immune system became stronger.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. And one of the things I've thought about that study so much, and I talk about it with my clients now, is that we all know what the fight or flight response is.
Right.
We learned that our ancestors passed that down, right? We're not facing lions anymore. We're facing stressful situations at work.
Mm-hmm.
But also for thousands of years in communities, they used music and drumming for, every day for expression and for weddings, for funerals. It was part of their community. So if that sense of drumming back then over the years started increasing your body's health, it makes sense that in our modern body, just like the fight or flight response, that those things are now being activated, right? To have more health. I mean, I work with clients and we'll drum for 30, 40 minutes and they say, I did not think about any of my problems. So it was a release from that stress, I feel better, and so this sense of health is coming through the music. I've used music, I guess it's not really for health, but it's kind of like that where I've created music for when people come out of surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And they immediately put on the headphones and I have a whole thing of me talking to them with music to help them come out of surgery, because it can be very difficult to come out of anesthesia and be sick and things like that. So I've done that for a number of people that really felt like they were so thankful for that, But also in more promoting of health, becoming more creative. The more creative you are musically, the more your brain is activated. And of course, the more your brain is activated, the better it is for you. Mm-hmm. So music activates the brain in so many different ways that it's healthy for you.
Right. Wow. That's absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. And I guess I want to just end this off with asking, where do you see the future of the field going?
First of all, I see music therapy going more into medical settings, more into hospitals. There are certain parts of the country where music therapy is really accepted in hospitals. Children's Hospital of Los Angeles has music therapists. UC Irvine Medical Center has music therapists. It's like music therapy should be in every hospital.
Right.
It just should be.
Mm-hmm.
So I see more of that happening. I think the more we understand how music is processed in the brain, the more we'll understand how to utilize it as therapists. The more we get the neurologists and the doctors on board with how powerful what we have is, it's going to go forward. So I really think the area of medicine is going to be the future for music therapy, more than anything else.
Do you think the program here is going to kind of, I suppose, modify and evolve with it? I mean,
the program here, you have to remember it's a bachelor's program, and so you don't really specialize in an area like you would in a master's program. But they're trained to do that. There are hospitals that we go into with other music therapists down in Long Beach. And also we have interns at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. So they're trained to do that. They study it. And there's not that much opportunity to actually do it in their field work because we've lost certain hospitals and things like that. But and plus, YouTube's amazing with watching music therapy on YouTube and what it can do. So, yeah.
It's looking great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ron, for spending the time to talk with me about, music therapy and then, of course, your experiences here with the program.
I've been talking about it since 1984 here. And it's always a treat to try to educate the public on the power of music and what we do at Northridge.
Well, thank you so much for spending the time to teach us.
You're welcome.
You can watch episodes of CSUN Conversation on YouTube and where you can find them at the CSUN Conversations page. It is also available anywhere you can listen to podcasts like Spotify and Apple Music. Thank you for watching.